Bright spring sunshine floods the woodland floor at this time of year, making it an early show of wildflowers. Bluebells, anemones, violets, primroses and others all take advantage of this warm sunshine before the leaves of the trees close over, cutting out the light to the woodland floor. Today I've got two special helpers, two flower detectives, who are going to help me in my search for wildflowers. They are Anna and Katrin. And we're going to go out and look for as many spring flowers as we can find and maybe learn a bit more about them. Bluebells don't like the shade and die back by midsummer, so the best time to see carpets of blue flowers in the wood is the springtime. Old woodlands are the best places to find bluebells, and generally speaking, the bigger the patch of bluebells, the older the woods. There is a problem with the Scottish bluebell, and that's because of the introduction of a garden bluebell called the Spanish bluebell, which is hybridising with our own native species, making them more and more uncommon. So girls, how do you think we'll find out if these are Scottish bluebells or Spanish bluebells?
Eres español? No, soy escocés.
What does that mean?
We're Scottish.
We're Scottish. We found Scottish bluebells. If you don't speak Spanish, another way to find out if they're Scottish or Spanish bluebells is the flowers in the Scottish bluebells all hang on one side of the flower, and in the inside of the flower the stamens and the pollen are whitey cream in colour, and in the Spanish bluebells they're purple. So girls, could you look inside the flowers and tell me what colour the pollen is?
The pollen is yellow.
It's yellow, so they're definitely Scottish. Now what I want you to do, girls, see you've got your paintbrushes?
Yeah.
I want you to pretend your paintbrush is a bee, and I want you to go inside the bluebell and collect some pollen. And once you've got a wee bit of pollen on the end of your paintbrush, transfer it to another bluebell a little bit away, and that will help to pollinate it. Well done. Now you've just done exactly what a bee would do. Fantastic. My flower detectives have found another cracker. This little woodland gem is called the wood sorrel. And the way we identify it, it has lovely little white flowers, and inside the flowers there are tiny little pink streaks. Can you see that, girls, inside the flowers? The pink streaks? Now another name for the wood sorrel is fairy bells. And the reason they're called fairy bells is because when it starts to get dull or it rains, the flowers close up. And you can see that one's closed, can't you? Yeah. And that one's closed. And people used to think that fairies were hiding inside the flowers. So why don't you try and have a look inside some of the closed flowers and see if you can find any fairies?
No fairies.
Any fairies in there?
No.
That's it, very gently open up. Oh well, we'll keep looking and we'll see what we can find. There's bound to be fairies in this wood somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, what we found? Ah, this is a brilliant plant. This is called dog's mercury. The dog's mercury is a very important plant in ancient woodlands. It's what we call an ancient woodland indicator species. Anywhere where you find this plant, you know the wood you're in is very, very old. Now, it doesn't have big flowers, does it?
No, it's just like leaves.
So it doesn't rely on insects to pollinate it. What it needs for the pollen to be moved from one plant to another is the wind. So why don't we get on with the wind and try and move the pollen from these flowers over there by blowing really, really hard. Okay, so we're trying to blow the pollen about 10 feet over there. After 3, 1, 2, 3. What do you think? We just leave it for the wind?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Later.
Many plants have scientific names, and these Latin names give us a clue to their uses and sometimes their appearance. Now this little flower here is called wild garlic, and its scientific name is Allium ursinum, and that means bear garlic. In many parts of Europe, wild garlic is at its most abundant just as bears are coming out of hibernation. Now, bears have been inactive and asleep for 6 months and haven't been to the toilet once, so when they emerge from hibernation, they need to find a plant that will help purge their digestive system, and wild garlic is the perfect plant. Some people say that this is the only time of the year when it's safer to be in front of a bear than behind a bear. As well as being tasty for bears, it's also very tasty for us. Wild garlic has been used by people for centuries and centuries. They've used the leaf in salads, which is just chopped up like spring onions, and they've also ground it down to make a garlic pesto. And it also has a small bulb that can be dried out and used as normal garlic. The girls have found another plant called Butterbur. Now, Butterbur is a member of the daisy family, and an interesting thing about this plant is that the flowers appear before the leaves ever appear. Now, it's a plant that's had many uses throughout the years. It was used to wrap foodstuffs, and that's how it got its name. People used to wrap butter in the big leaves, and there's also a hay fever cure that has been developed from the Butterbur plant. At this time of year, it's absolutely brilliant for queen bees as they emerge after the winter. And it's also good for a little moth called the butterbird moth that lives in this plant and in no others. Another use for the leaves, which can become huge, up to 3 feet across, is that they were used as umbrellas or hats when it was raining. Put your hats on, girls. How would you? Well, I've had a great day, and I would just like to thank my flower detectives, Anna and Katrin, who have been a great help to me today. I don't think I would have found half of the flowers if it hadn't been for you guys here. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yes.
And have you learned a wee bit about wildflowers?
Yes.
Now you'll be able to tell all your friends about everything you found and everything you've learned. Let's say cheerio. Cheerio!
Hello.